Is the AI bubble popping? You might have been watching your stocks today and wondering that.
The threat of a bubble.
An AI bubble burst.
Reality check could be coming for AI valuations.
Another day of tech.
That's the thing that's crazy, you know. It could be a bubble. It could be a bubble. If it pops, it's a bubble, but if they're able to make it shift and take over most jobs, then it won't be a bubble. Still gonna be a bad outcome, but not a bubble.
Underperformance on some concerns about AI growth.
If the whole thing blows up, which is a possibility, I don't know if it's going to
It
happen.
is.
The pitchforks are going to come out for these guys.
Oh yeah.
For the last couple
Or maybe
months,
not.
it seems that all anyone can talk about is the AI bubble and mass layoffs. I'm seeing a suspicious amount of, for the first time since 2008 headlines, and looking around, it seems like everyone is cutting jobs. This might just be life in an AI-first economy, and it truly is an AI-first economy we have here. I know you're already seeing the news, but there is a stupid amount of money going into this thing. Like, Nvidia recently hit an insane $5 trillion valuation. They make the chips AI models run on, and they're now worth more than the GDP of every single country except the US and China. One company making essentially a single product being worth more than, say, all of Big Pharma combined. And AI is way more than just this one company. Total global spending on AI is predicted to reach $375 billion this year. If you exclude all that investment in AI data centers and processing for 2025, GDP growth for the entire rest of the US economy was only 0.1%, according to...
So there's about 7 companies that are propping up the economy. That's the only reason why the numbers are still going up.
Harvard economists. Basically, AI is the economy now. Nothing else is even coming close.
That's why
that's
there's
all
2
very
economies.
scary because something doesn't add up with this business. It feels a little Ponzi schemey.
Oh, bro.
First, it's ad read time, because God knows we're not making any money from YouTube AdSense. Thank you, Google. Skip ahead to this timestamp if you hate me and don't want to support my work. This episode is sponsored by Aura, the only cool company on this cursed platform. Google your name real quick. Odds are some of your personal information comes up, right? If I search my name, it's just my public social media profiles. That's because Aura is my digital watchdog. If they get even a whiff of my data being sold, traded, or exposed in a breach anywhere on the internet, including the dark web, they track down the source and make sure they have a bad time. There are companies out there called data brokers whose whole purpose is to find and sell your data. They do it without your consent, and they make billions selling it to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. They are the worst. Thanks to Aura, they're not my problem anymore. Aura forces them to remove my data, and they keep it removed. But that's just part of why I use and genuinely appreciate Aura. It's an all-in-one security tool. They provide real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking, 24/7 identity theft monitoring, a secure VPN, antivirus, parental controls, password manager, credit checker, and a lot more. And if somehow anything does happen, Aura includes $5 million in identity theft insurance. And they have US-based fraud experts on call 24/7. If you're anything like me, I'm sure you're sick and tired of these stupid, evil little companies stealing your personal information and using it to make a quick buck. That's why I use Aura. It keeps me and my family safe online. If you're ready to protect your data, you can get 2 weeks absolutely free when you use my link. During those 2 weeks, you'll see exactly where your data is being leaked and who's doing it. Give it a try. I promise you'll appreciate the peace of mind. And now, back to the show. Okay, you may have seen these diagrams before. They show how AI companies are in business together. To some extent, it's simple. First, a company like Nvidia makes chips. Oracle buys those chips for $40 billion to power its data centers. Then OpenAI makes a deal with Oracle for $300 billion to use those data centers. So far, nothing weird. Except that a big chunk of those $300 billion that OpenAI gave to Oracle actually came from Nvidia in a $100 billion deal that happened just a few months ago. NVIDIA's money comes from Oracle, Oracle's money comes from OpenAI, and OpenAI's money comes from NVIDIA. Huh. Now everyone's got high revenue on the books. Everyone's stock goes up. And next month, everyone is making a new multi-billion-dollar deal, passing around what looks like the same trillion-dollar check. All the while making bigger and bigger promises to their shareholders that the line won't stop going up anytime soon. And the big three, Oracle, NVIDIA, OpenAI, they're not the only ones playing this game. Everyone in AI seems to be doing this. You can swap out OpenAI for Anthropic or Google, NVIDIA for AMD, and Oracle for Amazon, and the story doesn't change. But it's not that simple. That $100 billion deal we just talked about wasn't just a one-time transaction from NVIDIA to OpenAI. NVIDIA is now an investor in OpenAI, and also Intel, and also CoreWeave. Everyone is simultaneously investing in each other, sometimes producing hardware, sometimes providing servers, sometimes developing their own models, and sometimes doing a combination of these things. The lines are blurring as everyone is both hedging their bets by spreading their investments around while also trying to be top dog themselves. One circle overlaps with another, and another, and another, and oh my god, is this a bubble? Not according to tech CEOs.
Dario, you've said that AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs. And
Yeah, that's why this is the part that makes it not a bubble. Because if this part here works, the line is gonna keep going up, and then it will not be a bubble.
spike unemployment to 10 to 20%.
According to everyone in the AI space, even though some of the biggest players like OpenAI aren't profitable yet, they will be eventually. Or one company will be, at least. Eventually, AI will get so good it'll save us, it'll save billionaires so much on labor costs that this investment will pale in comparison. All this hype is justified because AI will take over our jobs. And that's already true, right? A lot of the layoffs we've seen recently have been because of automation and AI.
There's been companies that have backtracked on that, regretted firing so many people at once. The thing is, it's not as hot as they make it out to be.
Both YouTube and Amazon recently said so, except they're lying.
That's not actually true. Like, AI hasn't replaced workers yet. It's maybe changed the way they work a little bit, but we're not in a setting yet where we need less workers.
No one using AI at work is having a good time. Just recently, the Financial Times.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So right now, it is a little capable. If they throw the most compute power they can at it, they're convinced that they're going to be able to replace this 10, 20, 30% of the workforce. And this is where it's going to be worth it for them.
Times interviewed a bunch of companies about this. The executives told them AI was this great tool, so useful, and on and on. You know the spiel. Except when FT then checked with actual workers, nobody was using it. And this is consistent with the research we have on AI adoption. In one study, Gen AI failed in 95% of cases where companies tried implementing it. In another study of 25,000 Danish workers, introducing AI meant more work for about 8% of people. And in another study focusing on programmers specifically, AI made coding take 19% longer on average. And you and I know that programmers aren't the only ones cleaning up after shitty AI output. It's pretty obviously useless for most companies, and will likely only have a limited set of applications. It probably won't be this huge economic silver bullet for capitalists that'll cut costs across every industry. So, why, right? Why is everyone so hyped on AI, and why are all these people being fired if AI is so useless? Because managers always want to fire people. Now, they have an excuse.
And the main reason is that the AI economy is actually driving a lot of the economic stagnation that we're seeing too. It's not avoiding it or delaying it.
AI has given companies a perfect cover to screw workers over. Even though the main story right now seems to be all these layoffs, not as many people know that we're in a period of increased rehiring. At all these tech companies, at least 5% of the workers that are fired, quote unquote, because of AI, are rehired soon after, with that number only going up. And for the
We saw a
rest,
whole bunch of companies do that. I think it was Canvas. And then it advertises 180 vacant positions. But that's not done. There's another. Oh, maybe this is a article SEO. But yeah,
some of their jobs are simply put back on the market, just at a lower rate. Like at Klarna. A few videos ago, we talked about how Klarna was replacing people with AI. It turns
think
out
it was
that was a
Klarna.
bit of a lie. The CEO recently walked that policy back and started hiring people again.
It
Not
was
out of the goodness of his
Klarna,
heart,
yeah.
but because AI just couldn't cut it. And he's not alone. Every company is seeing that the labor market is rough right now. Every company has told its shareholders that it was a good idea to invest in AI. But nobody is seeing good results. And that would be a problem if those two things weren't mutually beneficial. But by pretending like AI is changing everything, managers can both let people go and justify how much they've spent on this useless tech. Then they'll quietly rehire a few people and make those still on the payroll pick up the slack. Altogether, thanks to AI, jobs become more precarious and work becomes more intense. It's not replacing people, it's not making things easier, it's just making work worse. Not only are you doing 2 or 3 people's jobs when your coworkers are fired, AI needs constant babysitting, so everyone left is stuck cleaning up hallucinations and extra fingers and yellow tint. And all this boils down to the fact that managers and workers just don't see the same thing. A manager's experience with AI is probably that it writes a pretty damn good email, and a worker's experience with AI is getting a report with 1,000 mistakes that would not.
Yeah. So this quote again, these models, they know 100% of the things that I don't know, and they know about 40% of the things that I do know. And so it makes sense that to a manager that only does emails and light, I don't know, word redaction and light Excel sheets, and you can't even use it for Excel sheets, as we saw from the video before. They're gonna think that this thing is pretty capable, but if you try to stress test it just a little bit, it's not that great. But it might become. Who knows?
Not have been there if a human had typed it up. Managers don't have the expertise to differentiate between bad and good the way somebody who actually does the job can, which is why you have managers telling FT that AI is great. Meanwhile, everyone down the ladder is doing everything they can to avoid using it. Except managers are the ones who choose who gets fired. So what about this bubble then? If the main takeaway here is that AI is a front for layoffs, that still doesn't answer the question of what happens when investors catch on to how useless it is. Well, we still don't know. From
Some
what we've
people
been able to
started
find
already.
and from talking to experts, it seems like there isn't a unanimous consensus on the risk here. On the one hand, these convoluted financing networks and overlapping investments could mean a potential crash would be insulated from the rest of the economy and mostly affect the tech industry. After all, the major players here, like Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon, these are all big, profitable companies spending a lot on AI using cash reserves. They are wealthy enough that they could take a loss if AI turns out to be a dud, and it'd be nothing more for them than a bit of wasted money. But as time goes on, these same companies are coming up with new financing schemes that could be a lot riskier. Not for them, but for the rest of us. Meta specifically has started financing the build-out of data centers in a way I won't pretend to fully understand. In part because it's designed to be opaque, in the other part because I'm not smart like that. But essentially, Meta has created tradable securities, financial instruments, using the leases of their data centers. These securities are bought and sold, including by hedge funds that are now getting involved and taking on more debt to finance these data centers being built. There's a concern that if the companies renting out these data centers don't have the revenue to pay their lease because, for example, nobody wants to spend money on AI anymore.
Well, you see, well, maybe Meta has done a couple themselves, but that's why Microsoft and Google are interlocked with CoreWeave and Oracle and all these other companies because they want to offload the risk. They don't want to have all the risk put on themselves. But this is making it so that they're entangled and more. And this is where we get some nasty stuff like 2008.
That could ripple through this whole network and into things non-tech people have a stake in, like pensions and mutual funds. Eventually, that could mean a crash that slips into the banking sector and affects everyone, not just tech companies. This is a hypothesis that more and more people are warning about in outlets like the Financial Times, which isn't exactly a socialist zine. And none of this is being helped by OpenAI already hinting at government bailouts, or the state pushing AI aggressively into everything from bureaucracy to education, or the fact that to achieve their projected profitability, AI companies are going to need $2 trillion of revenue in less than 5 years' time. OpenAI currently loses money every
$11.5 billion in the last quarter.
single time you use ChatGPT. There is a lot riding on them reversing that trend. And if they do, it'll be because they've successfully done the thing that
Yeah, because that shit is crazy. Can you imagine how bad it is? They have a $20 a month subscription. They have a $200 a month subscription. And they're thinking about putting ads inside the conversation with ChatGPT. That's how down bad they are right now.
that puts half of us out of a job. So, yeah. In the face of all this, it is clearer than ever just how important worker organizing is. This whole racket is currently being held up by hype and managers being able to fire people at will. The more we can make that impossible, the more we can guarantee that we're hired at fair wages, the more we can resist our jobs becoming executive nanny to the robot, the less this scam works. The more we get people in power who won't be blinded by Meta's quarterly reports and invite them to dinner, the less this scam works. There is nothing inevitable about AI replacing us. AI, as it is deployed in the United States, is a scam. It is a waste of time, money, electricity, and water.
Resources.
No reason to treat it as anything but.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great video. That was a beautiful video. It is a scam right now. It is a scam, but they're betting on that little edge. If it's able to replace a certain percentage of the workforce, it's going to be so beneficial to them.